We are joined by a political analyst from the University of Johannesburg, Vusi Gumbi. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, as we look at the assurance that has been given by President Cyril Ramaphosa that the cost of the national dialogue will be kept low. Of course, that's been a big matter of controversy around the issue. It's an important aspect of the event, more as we look at the timing of the dialogue in the context of the country's political atmosphere, isn't it?
No, it's true. If you recall, when this thing was initially announced and the 700 million figure, made shockwaves across the country, a lot of people from various sectors expressed their displeasure at the amount that was announced to host this national dialogue, particularly on two fronts. One, the fact that taxpayers are the ones who are footing the bill for this, and the fact that the exorbitant amount of money is not necessarily worth it, considering that the national dialogue in its true sense might not reveal what we don't know under the sun, particularly from those sectors of society who are against it from the first place, to say there's nothing from this dialogue that will come out that South Africans don't already know. So I guess it might cause some form of relief that the money has now been reduced from a projected 740 million to 740 million to now about 400 million or so. But it still raises the questions of whether or not South Africans will get value for money out of this national dialogue.
What is it expected to achieve? As we know that, all interested parties are sitting around a table in a room to discuss a way forward and, thinking harder on the outcome of these negotiations or the bargaining. What is the importance of such a dialogue at such a time?
Well, the importance of a dialogue, especially in the context of a very divided nation like South Africa, is to try to bring people together. I'm one of the people who usually say that in 1994, the government changed, but the social structure remained the same. So more or less apartheid became privatized. So, and we've seen a number of episodes in the past 21 years that have, shown how divided of a society we are, along racial lines, along social lines, class divisions. So in that sense, it is important to bring the nation together sort of around one common agenda or identity about the South Africa we all want. So in that sense of social cohesion, so to speak, it becomes important so that we understand as South Africans what the Rainbow Nation is. What is the South Africa that we want, right? So in that sense, it becomes important around the issue of social cohesion. But the dialogue doesn't become important around transformation. It does not serve any purpose around the issue of maybe job creation, unemployment, poverty, because there's nothing that will come out of the dialogue that politicians and everyone who is in Pretoria today don't know about the real challenges of South Africa. So for me, it plays more of a ceremonial role about building one common identity rather than, real effective change, because real effective change will not come out of that dialogue, and that dialogue will not uncover anything that we don't know already.
Yeah.
So it will not cover anything new under the sun. So for me, its role is more ceremonial, more symbolic, more about defining South Africa and the course of South Africa for the future. More like what Kodesa did in the early 1990s about charting the way forward towards South Africa's democratic future. So this is about how now do South Africans 30 years after democracy build a common agenda, because obviously we are a divided society along various issues.
But of course the glaring parts talk to whether or not it can restore trust in South Africa's government, nor fixing a corrupt, dysfunctional state, as we also take it back now to look at what's happening in the government of national unity, the warring and opposing sides of that composition as we try and chart a way forward as a country.
Yeah, I don't think it will work in trying to save face for government or improving public trust. I mean, as it is already, there are sections of society who are questioning the dialogue, right? And rightly so, about what is it that this dialogue will achieve. Because remember, the dialogue is more of a ceremonial body. Whatever that is discussed in that dialogue will still have to go to leaders of government, the very same leaders whom South Africans have lost trust in, expected to implement those changes. Again, those issues that will come out of that dialogue are not going to be anything new, because a person can make a claim that South Africans communicate their challenges all the time, from students fighting for free higher education to community members blocking the roads because there are no basic services being delivered, to young people marching to mayors' offices and premiers' offices, delivering memorandums around unemployment and poverty. All of South Africa's challenges are well documented. The problem is not the documentation of South Africa's problems, it's the will to implement those challenges. And the very same leaders in government have shown over the past 31 years that there is no will, whether political or otherwise, to implement or effect the necessary changes that are needed to ensure that the broad demographics of our country are well represented, for example, in strategic sectors of the society and things like that. So I don't think it will work in trying to maybe improve government's people's perceptions of government, so to speak.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening and being part of that discussion. Political analyst from the University of Johannesburg, Vusi Gumbi.